Hi, my name's Russell Mott and welcome to my YouTube channel that's designated for outdoor adventure training, specifically around navigation skills and expedition. Today we're in a local area. We're just coming off of the Saffron Trail in the heart of Essex, onto the Seven Woods, into the local nature reserve in Belfairs, and now we're going to apply a little bit of practical to support the two modules that I've done previously, which was ISPEC 15, which is all about distances to the ground, measuring distances on the ground, and also taking a compass bearing from map to ground. So I'm just going to put the GoPro now onto the head cam. What we're going to do now is we're going to demonstrate the pacings that we referred to earlier. Morning. We're going to apply some practical to that. And I just want to go over, as I can pan the camera down, you can see my feet. We talked about double pacings. And them double pacings, I always start on my left foot and count one in. So that'll be 2, 3, and so on. I also want to introduce smartwatches, which are a really good method of timing, and we'll see that later when we apply that to our module 17, when we actually use the bearing that we done in the previous YouTube video, where we looked on map to ground bearing. We're actually going to follow that bearing in exactly the same scenario. So I've set my Garmin watch up. I'm now going to press start, and then we're going to count those pacings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30. That's 60 pacings, and you'll notice on my watch the distance is literally slightly just over 100 meters. Therefore, my pacings, which I already know, I've just checked in again, my pacings to the 100 meters was pretty much 60 double pacings for 100 meters. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're walking down to the attack point. The attack point on the map that we took as our start point, and that attack point is where the footpath, the footbridge, crosses the stream. We're just walking down to that attack point now. While we're doing that, we also looked at the Naismith rules when we looked at pacings and timings. I can tell you that my current pace is at 6 kilometers an hour. So when we get down to our attack point, we're going to get the map out, and we're then going to apply our bearing from map to ground. I'll show you how that's done shortly. Okay, we've now got to our attack point, our start point, where we're going to take a bearing to cover a short distance of exactly 500 meters, which I've already previously worked out using the Roma on the map, and I will probably do another short video with a bit more focus on that when we look at route cards. But what I want to look at now is I've now placed the map in the orientation of the stream, as you can see, where the footbridge crosses the stream. I've now, as we did in the theory, attack point to the finish point, so attack point to the finish point using the flat plates compass, and you can see I've already set the compass to the bearing of 140 degrees, as we covered in the theory session. Okay, holding that map out now, you can clearly see that, hopefully. I'm now going to just stow the map into my day stack, and then I'm going to hold the compass out in front of me, and as you'll see, I'll just turn the compass around, and we're going to align the compass bearing. Okay, so the compass bearing is following this stream down the footpath. So we're going to cross over, get ourselves over to the footpath, yeah, and then we're going to basically hold the compass out, as I said earlier, Okay, the bearing we took was just the other side of the crossing, and now we're going to march on that bearing. Okay, so I've now changed my smartwatch over to timer. We covered pacings, double pacings earlier that clearly showed how we could use my double pacings of 60 to 100 meters. The average is 64. You will need to work out your own, as we said earlier. Now, holding the compass out, we normally taught to hold the compass in both our hands and turn like this. I avoid that sheerly because of the issues with magnetic fields from digital watches and smartwatches. So holding the compass bearing out in front of me now, you can see at 140, I'm directly down the pathway. We're now going to apply those timings. I've just walked off a little bit as I just passed someone in the woods. I'm now going to continue that, and we're going to march or walk on our bearing. Now, as we plotted earlier, this route does follow a stream, which you can see just to my right, which is further south. However, if we was at night on an expedition, perhaps when light had run out and we wanted to be sure we was on the right track and perhaps we couldn't see the stream, or as you can see, the stream does actually throw itself away to us and come back in, I can rely on my bearing, in this case 140 degrees, as you can see, and hopefully that will take us to our finish point. So we started off at attack point. Our finish point, our target point, is also a small footbridge that crosses the river back out to the road. Clearly see a little bit more of the brook that's running through. Prittle Brook. Just going to go out and check that bearing again. Obviously the bearing would be based on the attack point at the start, but I can still check in with my compass and we can still see that we're clearly on our 140 degree bearing. A nice clear pathway ahead of us. Just looking at our timings, we are about 2 minutes in. So just want to quickly touch base on, firstly, magnetic angle. I haven't applied it in this case, sheerly because in this area, the London southeast area, we are no more than probably 2 degrees out, so it's not really worth applying and confusing the status by applying a bearing and adding the magnetic angle, the variation to that in this case. However, we must be mindful that if we were somewhere else like Canada, we could be looking at applying a variation of up to 40 degrees, so it is significant then. The other thing I just want to cover as we walk along a bearing of 140 degrees following the stream is I'm currently walking, we look at the Naismith Rule, I'm walking at 6 kilometers an hour, a nice easy calculation for me. This route is 500 meters, so using and applying speed time distance, that gives me a timing of 5 minutes. So I'm just going to put the camera back onto head. Okay, we're now approaching our target point, our finish point, as I said earlier, where there is a footbridge that crosses back across the stream that we've literally handrail in this case on that bearing that we took map to ground, and you'll see my timings are almost bang on 5 minutes. Okay, playing the Naismith Rule, so obviously an easy one to calculate when you walk quite fast at 6 kilometers an hour, because every 100 meters is a minute. 500 meters speed time distance, 5 minutes, and pretty much bang on. So we've taken our bearing that we covered in the theory lesson on ISPEC 15, ISPEC 15, which was pacings, double pacings, measuring distance. We've covered ISPEC 16, which was taking a bearing from map to ground. We've also applied timings on that leg, and we've followed that a 500 meter short leg where we were in darkness. We would have been able to not see the river probably, and we could have followed the footpath on that bearing from our attack point to our target point, start to finish. That's all from me now. Stay safe and see you again soon.